Under Section 219 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, the ZRP is charged with detecting, investigating and preventing crime. The police service is also mandated to preserve the internal security of the country, protecting the lives and property of the people, maintaining law and order, upholding the Constitution and enforcing the law without fear or favor. Hello viewers, and welcome to yet another episode of Crime and Road Safety Watch, a program that is proudly brought to you by your police service in partnership, of course, with the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe. I'm Elliot Kudzai Ganyani. In our first story, the Zimbabwe Republic Police received a shot in the arm following the commissioning of a fleet of vehicles for operational use by the police. Now the commissioning was done by the President, His Excellency Dr. Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, at ZRP Mukushi Academy in Harare.
It is my distinct pleasure and honor to preside over this ceremony to commission yet another fleet of vehicles acquired by my administration for the Zimbabwe Republic Police. My government has repeatedly demonstrated its commitment to build the capacity of the police service through the gradual modernization and incremental provision of tools of trade. Ladies and gentlemen, as a country, we are marching to realize our national vision of becoming a prosperous and empowered upper middle income economy by 2030, in spite of the sanctions imposed on us by some Western countries. To achieve this, a peaceful and secure environment is key. This weighty responsibility lies with the Zimbabwean Republic Police as the primary agency entrusted with law enforcement in our motherland, Zimbabwe. The 132 vehicles we are commissioning include off-road pick-up vehicles, some of which are targeted for borderline patrols. The vehicles before us will enhance your mobility and responsiveness, which are critical elements of policing. The provision of these vehicles should complement other initiatives such as community policing, which emphasizes all of society involvement in the realization of peace and security in our motherland. I am equally mindful that policing, especially in today's modern age, requires an array of resources beyond the vehicles we are handing over today. My government is also in the process of mobilizing resources to acquire modern ICT-based equipment and products to ensure that the police meet the demands of contemporary policing.
The commissioning of the fleet of vehicles also saw the unveiling of the new name of the police training depot from Morris Depot to ZRP Mukushi Academy. In unveiling the new name, the President, Comrade Dr. Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, said that this was done in order to honor the sons and daughters of the soil who sacrificed their lives during the liberation struggle to emancipate the country from colonial bondage.
We are also witnessing the official renaming of the Police Academy from Morris Depot to Mukushi Academy. The facility is the country's premier police training institution of excellence. Its new name is a befitting honor to the many sons and daughters of our motherland, Zimbabwe, in particular the girls, who sacrificed the life and limbs under the brutal racist Rhodesian regime to bring about the independence, freedom and democracy, peace and stability we are today enjoying. The unveiling of the new name for the Police Academy, ZRP Mukushi Academy, epitomizes aspects of the indelible history of our nation. The colonial settler regime, in its typical merchant of death obsession, undertook a ferocious and heartless attack on liberation fighters and chose to decimate female guerrillas at Mukushi Girls Training Camp in Zambia. The massacre at Mukushi Camp Of these unarmed cadres on 19th October 1978, along with similar attacks at Freedom Camp on the same day in October 1978, Nazonya Massacre, August 1976, and Chimoyo Massacre in November 1977, stand in our history as a reminder of the brutality of the colonial regime of Rhodesia under Ian Smith.
Your Excellency, we remain indebted to your astute leadership as you continuously demonstrate your unwavering commitment to transform the Zimbabwe Republic Police by equipping it with contemporary tools of trade, which include cutting-edge technologies and motor vehicles, amongst others. As has become the hallmark of the Second Republic, under your able leadership, we are once again seeing the government putting its best foot forward. Indeed, this handover ceremony eloquently attests to government's determination to heighten capacitation. As the Minister of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage, we are deeply grateful that despite numerous competing demands, government continues to respond to our plea for resources which enable the ZRP to effectively discharge its mandate. Your Excellency, we remain appreciative of your commitment towards equipping the ZRP with modern tools of trade as the nation gears for the 2023 harmonized elections. The Zimbabwe Republic Police requires a significant amount of motor vehicles to cater for operations which include scene attendance, public order management, patrols, traffic enforcement, border patrols, and general administration. We are therefore very confident, Your Excellency, that by the brick-by-brick strategy being pursued by the Second Republic under your leadership will certainly culminate in a modern police service that competes quite well with other police organizations across the region and beyond. Your Excellency, let me take this opportunity to express gratitude to you and the Cabinet of Zimbabwe for approving the Integrated Systems Project, which shall see the Zimbabwe Republic Police computerized. Technology has become ubiquitous in all facets of human endeavor. The importance of technology to policing, therefore, can never be overemphasized.
Among notable figures who attended the event were the Vice President of Zimbabwe, Comrade Dr. Constantino Chiwenga, the Minister of Defense, Comrade Opam Chinguri Kashiri, Minister of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage, Comrade Kazembe Kazembe, the Commissioner General of Police, Commissioner General Tandamantu Godwin Matanga, SOCIO commissioners, and other senior government officials. From that story, we're taking a short break. Do not move an inch. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is the second segment of Crime and Road Safety Watch, and thank you for staying tuned. Governing of speed limits is an issue of concern, particularly to public transport vehicles. There is a statutory instrument to that effect. Let us find out more from the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe.
The statutory instrument that has just been released, that is SI 118, which deals with the issue of speed, I think basically has two key components. The first component is that it requires that there be speed limiters fitted to all heavy vehicles with a mass of 4,600 kgs and above. The second one is speed monitoring devices. And it should be clear that the requirement is for both, not either or. Speed limiters basically are meant to ensure that those vehicles do not exceed the speed of 100 kilometers per hour, which is the maximum speed that has been set. While speed monitoring involves also that when this is fitted, it should be in the manner that the information, the data that is generated therein should be able to be stored somewhere so that authorities may demand that data should the need arise. Where this is coming from is, I think the Zimbabwean public will recall that of late we have had a number of accidents involving public service vehicles. As a country, I think it's now known as a fact that we lose on average 5 people per day, which comes to about 150 people, lives lost every single month. It also came because there had been a lot of lobbying from the traveling public, where concern is raised that we see even in videos that have been circulating, passengers trying to appeal to the drivers to slow down, and there's no positive response. So government eventually had to take this step, as represented by the Honourable Minister of Transport, who then gazetted this statutory instrument. And I believe the travelling public will be relieved that government has taken this very bold but very relevant decision. The other question that has arisen is the realization that the maximum speed used to be 80 kilometers per hour for the same buses and the heavy vehicles, but it has been raised somewhat. And obviously the issue then that arose was that in the consultation process, because there was consultation between government and the various stakeholders, the bus operators specifically requested that the speed be raised to 100 kilometers per hour so that it's uniform to the rest of the SADC region. The buses that come into Zimbabwe from neighboring countries, the maximum speed limit there is 100. So for the sake of parity, and in the context of harmonization of road rules and regulations, government of Zimbabwe then raised the speed limit to 100 kilometers per hour, but which will still be better than what we have been witnessing on the roads. What this means is that all new buses that are imported or heavy vehicles that exceed the mass, the weight that has been nominated, will now be expected as they come into the country to have those gadgets fitted. Or upon arrival, but before they are allowed to operate, they will need to have that gadget fitted. That is the speed limiters. Without that, it should be clear to Zimbabweans that the bus or such a vehicle cannot be issued with a certificate of fitness because it doesn't comply with the law. Secondly, the same bus can no longer be issued with an operator's license. They will not be able to be issued with a route authority. And what that implies is that even those that are operating now, it means they cannot renew. They are now expected to renew as part of this initiative.
Crime and Road Safety Watch recently attended the launch of the Zimbabwe Insurance Crimes Bureau, an initiative by the Insurance Council of Zimbabwe. The launch, which happened at Crystal Lodge in Harare, is aimed at fighting insurance crime. Various speakers took turns to elaborate on this initiative.
The Zimbabwe Insurance Crimes Bureau is an independent legal insurance crime fighting unit whose prime purpose is to minimize organized and opportunistic fraud and crime in the insurance industry in Zimbabwe. Its formation allowed members to benefit from collaborative capabilities driven by data sharing, which is fundamental to identifying and curbing insurance fraud. The vision of the Bureau is to improve the profitability of its members and obviously offer downstream benefits to the nation by eradicating insurance fraud in the insurance industry. Our mission, the Bureau aims to achieve its vision through cordial working relations with stakeholders, the consolidation and analysis of appropriate data from multiple sources, Tip-Off Anonymous, which we'll be launching shortly, provision of industry intelligence and publication of insurance crime convictions as a deterrent measure.
In her speech, the guest of honor, Commissioner Grace Muradzikwa, spoke of the importance of this initiative in fighting insurance fraud.
Insurance fraud not only impacts the insurance industry, but it also has far-reaching consequences for consumers and the economy. And some of the negative consequences of insurance fraud, which have already been alluded to, driving premiums up. It also eats into resources, that could have been channeled towards legitimate claims. And I think also eroding trust, in the insurance industry. I think it is for this reason that fighting fraud in insurance is more critical than ever. Ladies and gentlemen, I think as we launch this bureau, it is critical to ensure that the bureau is well equipped with the necessary expertise and resources to investigate, to analyze, to detect, and also to prosecute those who engage in fraudulent activities.
Guests who included representatives from the law enforcement agencies, insurance companies, and other stakeholders were taken through the system function of this bureau by ethics consultancy Zimbabwe, ECB, who are working with Insurance Council of Zimbabwe for this noble cause.
So the ZICB system is bringing together collective resources of insurance companies, law enforcement agents, and all stakeholders to ensure that there is a process for facilitating the identification of insurance fraud, and most importantly, being able to, when you identify, you are then able to prevent and mitigate, as in actually preventing future incidences from occurring. So we do have the operational data sources, which is basically information that is coming from the insurance company. What the system then does is, after it collects information, it then tries and identify what is called fraud propensity score. So the investigators, which were among us, they then actually sit down and actually further drill down in a specific case and then involve the specific insurance companies to ensure that they are able to provide more information, which can then actually go to the root causes of the specific incident.
It is a clear message there from the Insurance Council of Zimbabwe, bringing together all stakeholders from insurance companies, law enforcement agencies, and other stakeholders in the fight against insurance fraud. We do hope that you have learned some lessons in terms of insurance crime. Do not be found wanting. Join us in the third and final segment. It is the third and final segment of Crime and Road Safety Watch, and thank you for staying tuned. The Zimbabwe Republic Police calls for maximum cooperation from you, members of the public, in order to create a conducive environment for national socio-economic development. Now, for this to be a reality, it calls for the nation to end drug and substance use, a cancer that has wreaked havoc, particularly among the country's youth. In line with this, the ZRP Staff College has taken a leading role by mobilizing multiple players towards an all-stakeholder approach in fighting use of drugs and substances.
The country is engulfed with a menace that is of drug and substance abuse. Our students carried out a research in Epworth, and a research which was targeting on the extent of drug and substance abuse, in particular amongst the young children, school-going children. They came up with some findings which prompted us to act or to intervene. Some of these findings included that there was an increase in the drug and substance abuse, particularly in Epworth area, and in particular by school-going children. The drugs out there were easily accessible. Crystal meth, or mtoriro, or glue, alcohol itself, marijuana, even most of these drugs which are even of a high value, they could be found and used in Epworth. So as a college and as a stakeholder in the fight against drugs, we are a police service. We need to take action to reduce drug and substance abuse. So we want to carry out an awareness campaign on drugs and substance abuse, in particular at Epworth High School. That's right. We have scheduled for this immediately after the International Day of Drugs and Substance Abuse. So at this juncture, I want to urge our communities, the elders, our school-going children, and everybody else within our communities to shy away from drug substance abuse.
The Zimbabwe Republic Police would like to warn members of the public to be on the lookout for fraudsters who purport to be capable of facilitating jobs abroad. Many people have been fleeced of their hard-earned money with the hope of moving to European countries, particularly the United Kingdom. But such criminal acts are least expected to be done by a couple.
We arrested a couple, being Melusi Ndlovu and his wife Gwendolyn Ndlovu. The two are aged 36 and 35 respectively. The duo had been presenting themselves as agents who assist job seekers for medical works in the outside countries. These two were presenting themselves as if they teach the English language for the Western countries, which is a requisite for the applicants to go abroad. As such, they were making their clients to pay varying amounts of between $3,000 and $4,000. The accused person will then engage a falsified Indian person who will make a WhatsApp phone call interview using a phone number with a prefix +44, which is the United Kingdom telephone number. The Indian guy will interview and promise, if not advise, his clients that they had passed the interviews. As of the previous week, we have a total of 53 complainants who have got a total sum of $134,410 United States dollars being the prejudiced money.
From that story, we now move on to people who are on the police wanted list. Francis Jem of house number 31, Kuwe Street, Rujeko, Marondera, is wanted in connection with a rape case. Dombo Police is also looking for Gilbert Muguto of house number 1482, Muhacha Street, Rujeko, Marondera. Lastly, Norest Chiranda of house number 33A, Dimba Street, Rujeko, Marondera, is also wanted by Dombo Police for a case of unlawful entry into premises and theft. Should you have information that may help in locating any of these wanted people, please feel free to visit or contact any nearest police establishment. Alternatively, you can link with us on any of the following details. Our national complaints desk number is 0242 703 631. You can visit our website at www.zetrap.gov.zw. Email us on feedback@zetrap.gov.zw. You can also like us on our Twitter handle at Police Zimbabwe or Facebook page Zimbabwe Republic Police. To those who may have missed any of our previous episodes, do not despair, as you can watch all Crime Watch episodes on the ZRP YouTube channel, Zimbabwe Republic Police. It has been Crime and Road Safety Watch, a program proudly brought to you by your police service, the Zimbabwe Republic Police, in partnership, of course, with the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe. Many thanks for being with us, and like I always say, it is always an extraordinary privilege to have you along. On behalf of the ZRP, the Crime Watch crew behind the scenes, this is Kuzi, signing out.